So the first example that comes up in the PowerPoint is going to be x squared plus 8x plus 15 equals 0. And we should be able to find the value for x. The only value for x, if we substitute into this left side of the equation, is going to be equal to 0, right? So in this case, we might have one solution, we might have two solutions. We have to find this out, okay, or figure this out. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to write my quadratic formula, which is x equals negative b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. Now I have to identify my values for a, b, and c. So the value for a, again, we say that's the one that comes with the x. So in this case, I don't have a number that comes with x, so we always include the number 1. There's 1x squared. So we can say that the letter a is number 1. For b, that's going to be the second value, or the value that comes with the x by itself. So b is going to be 8 in this case. And c is going to be the constant, or the value that's by itself. Okay, so c is going to be equal to 50. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite my quadratic formula, but instead of writing the letters, I'm going to replace those for a parenthesis. That's minus b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, all divided by 2 times a. Now I'm going to substitute my values for the variables. So we see that we have the first variables are going to be b's. So those values, the value that I chose for b is going to be 8. The next value is going to be the values for a, and we chose a to be 1. And the number in the bottom is also a. The last number that we chose from the quadratic equation is going to be c, and this is represented by a 50. So this is where we have to start simplifying this expression as in PEMDAS. So what I will recommend you, or the way I would like you to approach this is the following. So always do the sign distribution first. This is the first thing that we have to do. So you have negative 8. I can replace that already for a negative 8. Plus minus square root. And then I'm going to start working with this. The second thing that you should do this exponent. This number is always going to be positive. That's 8 to the power of 2, which means 8 times 8, that's going to be a 64. Okay, the next thing that you're going to do is going to be this multiplication. I recommend you to identify what the sign of the result is going to be. Since in this case I'm multiplying a negative 4 times two positive numbers, that is just one negative, it means that the result is going to be negative if you multiply those, right? So negative 4 times 1, that's going to be negative 4, and the negative 4 times 15, or the result of negative 4 times 1 times 15, that result is going to be negative. Okay, so make sure that you have the sign correct over here, and just multiply the magnitudes of the values. So 4 times 1 is 4, times 15, that should be 60. Okay, then divided by, and we can evaluate this operation in the bottom of the denominator, right? 2 times 1. Make sure that you don't forget to do that multiplication as well. So at this point, the next thing as in PEMDAS is to simplify the expression inside the root. So before we start taking square roots or anything, I have to add or subtract those two numbers depending on the sign that's in between. On this case, we have to do a subtraction, right? So that's 64 minus 60, and the result is going to be 4. And don't forget you're dividing by 2. As in PEMDAS, if we want to keep going in here, I'm going to scroll up a little bit, right? We have to do the operation inside the roots. So it's going to be x equals negative 8 plus minus 2. That is the result of the square root of 4, right? Square root of 4 is 2. And then you're divided by 2. Now at this point, if you reach this point, it means that you're going to have two solutions in here. Okay, I have a sign that says plus minus in between. This means that I have to take negative 8 plus 2, then divided by 2. And in another situation, I have to take negative 8 minus 2 and divide it by 2. So this is where I'm going to split it into two solutions. I'm going to have two different paths in here. Okay, I'm going to have the plus, and I'm also going to have the minus solution. So two solutions. So let's see what the result is going to be in this case. So I have x equals -8 plus, I'm going to take the plus solution here, plus 2 divided by 2. And the other situation is going to be -8, and then I'm going to take the minus solution, -2 divided by 2. I'm going to get two different numbers out of this result. So let's see what we get at the top. So we're going to do this operation -8 plus 2, which is going to be -6 divided by 2. The result is -3. So this is my first solution to the quadratic equation. Let's see what the second solution is going to be. So I have to perform this operation on the numerator. That's -8 minus 2. That's two negatives, so I have to add the magnitudes. The result is going to be -10 divided by 2. And then if I do that small division in there, negative divided by a positive, that's going to be -5. So it looks like my solution set is going to be -3 and -5. So you can find it like this. You can also find it like x equals -3 and x equals -5 is the same thing. These are the two numbers that you are looking for as the solution for this problem.